Well, hello, crafters. Big D here. And we are going to have a shorter show tonight. As people know, Lady D is struggling with her back a bit lately. So she's not here with me tonight. To be honest, not a lot going on in the world of Warhammer this week. And I've got some big projects going on at work, so I am unfortunately getting up super early in the morning and getting out of here really early to get to work because, as people know, my new job it's a bit of a drive in the morning. So I'm a little tired, very worn down. Work on content or find out. I mean, we have stuff going on, but it's going to be a shortened show. Probably going to be instead of our normal. Hey Tina, instead of our normal hour and a half, probably only going to go for about an hour tonight, guys. Hope that's okay. Just not a lot going on in the world to make things go on. On the other hand, as far as what's on the bench, I've had a lot going on hobby-wise, which is good. If you've been watching my Instagram, I finished up in the last week 4 separate or 3 separate Underworld teams. Let me see. I've got I finished up the Stormcast team that I work with, my Undead. Yeah, 4 teams. So Stormcast, Mechanodwarves, or Caradon Overlords, I over with his little band of little guys, and the Briar Queen. So I finished 4 teams for Underworld, which is really good. Hopefully I'll get a game into that this weekend. And then once I know how to play it, maybe me and the Lady D will play a game and we'll stream it, because it doesn't look like it's a long game to play. So I might just play a game and stream it. Hey, Commodore. So I've got that done. I'm working on this Beastmen. Unfortunately, I got the Beastmen. I've got a couple of their base coats down. I'm just kind of uninspired for them. They're not like they're bad sculpts. They're not. They're actually really nice sculpts. Beastmen are not one of my. They're not like something I'm really into. Hey, Jamie. They're not something I'm really into. So, a couple of base coats done on them. But I'm still working on them, and I'll get them done. I'm just not like, oh, I'm so excited for these guys. So I'm a little like, okay, I'll get them painted. And I'll probably pick up another team this weekend just to paint another team. And I love the fact that they are bite size. Warmut, hey, buddy, how you doing? I went out and bought both Beastgrave and Night Vault. And I've kind of read over the rules a little bit. But it's one of those games that's really better to play playing with it. Tina, that's true just about any game. I remember we were playing Warcry. Everybody was at the store playing Warcry. And the game between you and Shan was like really long. And it's just like both of you were just like, well, I'm going to take an hour to take my turn because I have questions, and then that's fine. It's funny. It's fun. I'm not making fun of it. It's funny. I started work. I've completely built my box of Ogres from Feast of Bones. They're completely built, and I've started laying down base coats on them. I don't have a complete box of Feast of Bones. I didn't get the guy with the cannon on the back of the boar. That's the one figure I didn't get, so I got a really good deal in the box. But all the gluttons, I've got them 6. There's 6 of them are built, and I've got base coats started on them. And I've got the Tyrant built and base coats started on him. And the 2 guys, the lead belchers, the guys with the 2 cannons. I've got them. I've got base coats started on them as well. They're built and they're base coated. And I've got all of my Slaanesh built, which is 2 halves of Wrath and Rapture. I've got them built and primed. So got a lot of building done, which was good. I kind of needed the mindlessness, the clarity of mind to do that. So I got them all just knocked out. Just Tina, it's all good. Everybody I've heard that I've talked to and I play with on a regular basis that's part of a normal gamer group has really talked a lot, very well about Underworld. So I kind of invested a little crazy in it. I mean, I did buy both starter boxes, and we bought 4 or 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We bought 4 additional teams for it. Oh, cool. You did pick up some Underworld's teams there. Great, Kami. That's good to hear. Yeah, I've got 4 teams built and painted and ready to play. I've got another team that's built and I've started. I'm going to hopefully get these guys done before this weekend, so I'll have a 5th team ready. And then probably either Friday or Saturday, I'm going to pick up another team. Unless they, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want. There's another team I was looking at that I'm kind of digging. I think the one of the orc teams would be kind of cool. I don't know. I should probably play a couple games before I go buy another one. Although I really kind of want the worm spat as well. Yeah, when that comes out, I'll be getting that too. And that's going to be Lumineth and the Slaanesh. So I'm going to get the Slaanesh team and I'll give Shan the Lumineth to paint. So should mine, Kami. I'm getting an orc team. I'm going to do a very basic paint job on them. I've kind of got an idea of what I want to go with them. I think their paint scheme is going to be very similar to my regular orc 40K team. You don't want your Slaanesh team, Ben? You may talk. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going to all come in that box, and if it's going to be another set of the same cards, I may not need them, but we'll talk. I kind of like this. I mean, I'm really digging the Slaanesh stuff. We did pre-order the Shadow and Fury box that we should be getting this weekend, and I'm super excited for that. Shan is really liking the Daughters of Cain, and the more she reads in the lore, she's really digging them. I love everybody who knows me knows that I love Chaos. The only Chaos god I'm not really into. Kind of Tzeentch. I mean, kind of, but not really. I mean, I like Slaanesh and Nurgle. Those are my 2 favorites. So I'm playing Nurgle in 40K. So having a nice full big blown Slaanesh army for Age of Sigmar is kind of exciting to me. I'm actually really kind of digging that idea. I can't wait to get my Keeper of Secrets because I think the paint scheme that I'm designing for them is pretty cool. I was originally going to do a hobby stream this weekend, today, just because I knew Shane was going to be down, but I am so run down from work. My the lazy eye is just like, oh, I don't want to listen to you. I'm all over the place. So I'm kind of having to Popeye quite a bit to keep from double vision right now. It's good. I'm not complaining. It's a good week at work. A lot of stuff's getting done. It's a good job. I like what I do. I like where I work. I like all that. I just don't like the drive. Fortunately, with needing me to be there earlier in the morning than before, it means me. It's a long drive. It's a little bit over an hour every day. So, hell, I came home today, and as soon as I got home, I laid down and took like a 45-minute nap because I was so wiped out. The storm doesn't help either. Here in Wisconsin today, And unfortunately, because of my leg, I feel, and the eye, I feel the storm pretty bad. So it's just like, I'm feeling my age, guys. I don't like it. I don't like feeling my age. So yeah, I mean, we got that Shadow and Fury box coming out. That's gonna fill up my Slanesh army, and then I can reassess and see what else I need. I'm kind of like, I'm gonna specifically take what I got from those 3 boxes and see what that builds, and then work from there just to get to the point where I have a 2,000 point army. I have 2 other HQ figures en route to me. A friend of mine is getting them for me through a used it's going through eBay type thing. He knows people, so he's getting me a Keeper of Secrets and a Sissa Elki. So I'll have the 2 of them, and I think pretty much Antonio. What is up, my friend? Raceland, my buddy. Good to see everybody. So yeah, getting a Sissa Elki and a Keeper of Secrets, and then I'll have, after I get this box, I'll have, well, and a friend selling me 10 Demonettes that he's got built, but he didn't want to paint because he doesn't like the model. So I'll have 40 Demonettes at that point then, and then a whole lot of the riders, and the riders with the spears and the riders with the whips, and it's pretty cool. Greg, good to see you, buddy. Wow, got a bunch of people coming in. It's cool. Good to see everyone. So I'm digging the Slanesh. I've got a really cool paint scheme I started conceptualizing and laying down some base colors on just to kind of get one figure painted. So I have I can see the recipe in play and see if I actually really like it the way it is. So we'll see how that goes. I have some really cool basing ideas for them. My roommate has a Cricut and is able to cut things out with the Cricut, including small versions of the Slaneshi symbol that I can shrink down and get them printed out so they fit on a base. So that's one of the things I'm looking at, and how well that'll turn out and how that'll work out for the basing for them, because I want to do their basing kind of in the same idea as my Nurgle basing, but instead of it being Nurgly corruption, it's going pretty well, Ray. It's actually, yeah, it's a good night. 8 people. Sometimes get a little more, sometimes a little less, but it's all good. What was I saying? Instead of having it being a Nurgly corruption, I wanted to have it a Slaneshi corruption, which works out really well, because if you actually get the full kits, which those boxes actually had in there, I wanted to incorporate claws and spikes and spines into the basing material, you know, having things come onto the ground. And there's a shocking a number of spare parts in those kits, and it's mainly extra claws and extra spikes and extra spines and extra horns. So being able to cut them up and use them in the basing will work out really well. So when I get that, I'm going to build one, see how it looks, see how hard it is, and then start the tutorial. Well, to be honest with you, Antonio, that may be changing a couple of months down the road. Well, as we get closer to spring, we're going to talk about that. But things are changing down where he's at, and so that may necessitate Raceland coming back here home, which is not a big deal. and maybe we can actually get him playing some games with us. So that'll be good to see. Miss my boy. I miss my boy. I was convinced I was never going to see him again. He was going to go off in the great wild far south, and I'd never see his butt again. So, things coming up in Warhammer in the next week. Not a lot going on from what I saw. There's a lot of talk about now that we have the full version of the Space Wolf accessory book, as long as it's out now. A lot of talk about it. Woven are we'll figure that out once you get out here, buddy. Woven are what used to be pretty much a must-take anytime you play Space Wolves, have kind of slipped down the chart. They lost some key stuff. They're not as auto-take as they were before. I don't think they're terrible, but the change in Storm Shields, they're one of those units that really noticed the change in Storm Shields. I don't think it's that big a deal, but as I don't actually currently have any Woven, I'm not going to worry about it. On the other hand, the changes to Thunderhammers, Power Fists, and Power Claws makes a big difference to Thunderwolf Cavalry. Now that Thunderwolf Cavalry have the ability to advance and charge as a unit completely, Thunderwolf Cavalry kind of moved higher up into the ranks. So after being terrible for as long as they were, they're now actually really good. So I got when I play 40K again, I got to finish up my second squad of cavalry, and I probably are going to do a third set. I'm probably going to get a third unit of cavalry because as a fast attack choice, they are still pretty boss. I'm thinking about getting some wolf claws, blood claws. I still have a whole bunch of Indominus stuff to finish painting for them. Wolves are in a good place. I'm thinking with the slight changes they made, there were a couple noticeable changes that they made sagas separate from warlord traits, and you can have multiple heroes get sagas as long as they're characters, and you don't have to pay for them ahead of time, but as soon as one of them does something and achieves it, you can put it right on them. So that's kind of cool. And there's a thing you can do to give a second warlord trait now, which is also pretty cool. The limitation of a single captain per detachment I was kind of hoping the Wolves would have an exception to that rule in the way that their armies are laid out, which they do not. And the reason I would hope for that is because the Space Wolves are kind of famous among chapters for having lots of heroes. So one captain, 2 lieutenants per detachment. And since Ragnar is the beast right now, I mean, Ragnar is, as far as I've been able to see, Space Marine characters, Ragnar is probably point for point one of the best, or at least one of the strongest in the game right now. The sheer number of attacks, the movement, his other abilities, he is absolutely devastating. I mean, I think on a charge, he ends up with something like 10 or 11 attacks. And then there's things you can do to give him more. So he's kind of ridiculous in that respect. And he's got that massive chain weapon. He's a really, really good figure. So you kind of, if you're running Space Wolves, you kind of want to run him. But the problem is it takes up a captain slot. It's a Wolf Lord slot for us. So that being said, if you want to have another captain, if you want to have a Smash captain, if you want to run the Indomitus captain, the Indomitus Shield captain, if you want to run the sneaky captain, I forget what they're called, the Vanguard captain, or you just want to, you want to build like a captain on a Wolf Lord on a Thunderwolf. Any of those scenarios, you've got to have a second detachment. And only having 2 battle leaders, again, not a horrible thing, but it is for the Wolves. It's kind of weird because Wolves kind of are Hero Hammer. I mean, they do stack up a lot of characters with their forces. So we're going to be spending CP to build minimal detachments just to add extra characters into builds, I'm thinking. But that means we're going to be building some weird setups. I don't know. I'm going over a couple numbers here because I'm looking at. I realize there's which one is the Vanguard captain? The one that comes with the Vanguard Space Marines. The one that came in Shadow Spear. I cannot remember what the Phobos captain. There we go. The Phobos captain. The Phobos captain, who is a really, really good character. But if you're running Ragnar, you got to run a second detachment to run him. Yeah. If you bought Shadow Spear box, there's a Phobos captain, a Phobos lieutenant, and or I don't know if they're called Phobos, whatever they do. The ones on a Shadow Spear. There's a captain, a lieutenant, and a psyker. And the captain is great because he's basically an extra sniper. He's just awesome. He's a freaking sniper that he's a boss character. I love him. He's one of my favorite characters. And if you're running infiltrators and you take the radio instead of the medic version with the infiltrators, he's in range no matter where he is on the board. So you can stick him with your snipers so that he's giving them the reroll of the ones on the hits, and then you can have your infiltrators forward on the board, and if they've got the radio guy, they're always in range of him no matter what. So it's a really, as Commodore points out, I always look for synergies. The Phobos captain with the Phobos lieutenant, there's a lot of synergies there with infiltrators that are really good. Because they're both in range. The whole Phobos, the whole Shadow Spear box set, I like infiltrators. I really do. I like them a lot. I think with my custom Marine group, if I ever get to the point where I'm done doing old Marines and I start adding Primaris to them, that's actually probably my first inkling to get in there, is to buy that Vanguard Space Marines box and then grab the character captain, because he's in his own blister now. Get him the captain and the psyker and add them to that unit, because they're, as a group, infiltrators with the Phobos HQs are really, really good together. Especially if you're playing like a shooty type army. Just nasty. So that being said, let's see here. No Boulder November. Told you about what I've got on deck right now, especially with the basing I'm working on for it. I have to say, doing all this underworld stuff has really kind of re-energized me painting. Between the custom units or the custom chapter I was doing for my Marines before, for basically most of October, and then having No Bolter November, I have really I've kicked up my volume on the amount of things I've painted, and I think I'm spending a lot more time and detail on them, but I'm still, my normal speed painting is coming through. So I gotta say, I was getting basically September, I kind of slacked when it came to building and painting. I was kind of like, I don't want to do this. I was burnt out. And the not playing a lot of games did that to me too. But getting a few games in the latter part of September, and then getting figures. Yeah, except Ben, here's the thing. I really like painting, and I really like building, and building and painting are therapy for me. They really are. They keep me sane, and he is not a slacker. We'll have to find out what you've actually done, Ben. Yeah, for me, they're therapy, and especially with being homebound for basically the entire summer and most of the spring and now part of the fall, being mostly homebound, I need that therapy. Also, at the very beginning of the year, it wasn't like a big public challenge because we weren't like making it wasn't a competition type challenge, but myself and a few other of my friends, myself, Inquisitor Zane, Wolf Brother Mythos, Lady D, Hellworks by Hellchild. There's a number of us that all kind of got together and like, look, okay, we're going to try and push ourselves and push each other to build and paint more this year. So we've all been kind of keeping a running log of how many figures we've built and painted this year for 2020. And it's just kind of to try and motivate each other and push each other to do more. Now, that being said, last year, my first year back in the hobby fully, I got back into the hobby at the end of February, and I painted somewhere around 130 or 140 total models for 2019, something like that. 100, maybe a little more, maybe like 150. But I know that I did do, it's somewhere on my timeline. I know that I did the 6 months in, so it would have been just before Armies on Parade last year. I got my card for the 100, for having 100 figures painted. So somewhere in that range, somewhere about 150 figures. And I wanted to do more than that this year. And I've done that. I actually going to have to sit down and do a recount at some point. I lost track again, but I've got photo proof of what I've all done, but I stopped tracking the actual number. But I've got photo proof of it. I'm somewhere in the upper 300s at this point. So I've picked up my game, and I think my painting has definitely, by doing more painting and doing it repeatedly and doing batch painting over and over. I'm picking up. Yeah, I might even be north of 400. That's the problem. I lost track at one point, mainly because that week, that competition week with Midwinter Minis, and I did 97 figures in that week. I kind of lost track around there where my actual numbers were at. So, yeah, I'm somewhere in upper 300s. I might have even broken 400 at this point. I will be doing a showcase at the end of the year. Basically, I'm going to clear off the table and put everything that I've painted down on the table, and just show what I've all painted for the year. And I want to make a point about this, that I'm not doing this to go, haha, I can paint so much. I want to do this because I know people, and I've had people argue with me about this. And it's like, okay, I'm an okay painter. I am not a great painter. I know I can see 4 people in my chat right now. Part of it's therapy. It is therapy. But the other thing is, I see 4 people in this chat right now that I know are better painters than I am. And if I can sit down and crank out a bunch of models, then hopefully it's to show people that are in my man, Mini Warm Mud, my man. How are you, sir? I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't talked to you in a bit. If I can crank through that many models, then some of these people that are getting new in the hobby are intimidated by volume of models. Showing them it can be done, and it can be done. It doesn't have to be. Every figure does not have to be a masterpiece, a showpiece quality figure to be cool looking, to go on the table so that people look at your army and go, that looks really great as a unified army. So, and that's kind of what I wanted to push myself to, I want to kick my game up so I can do it better. And that's by doing this many and doing it more and more and more, that my paint game is coming up. I think my Death Speakers, my Space Marine, my custom Space Marine unit, they look really good, I think, because I've done some different techniques with them, and I think they look good. But they're also very basic. But again, I'm pushing myself with them. I'm doing freehanding on every single figure. Every single figure is getting the chapter symbol freehanded on it and getting their... So it's the chapter symbol on that shoulder, and then the role in the army on there. So if they're battle line or fast attack or any of that, it's going to be on there. And I'm freehanding all that. I'm not using any decals on them at all. And I'm trying to do them in a sketchier style and trying to use some chipping techniques and use some weathering techniques. Dana Howell did this incredible kit bash where she... That's something to hear, Brian. Dana Howell did a really cool video where she took basically the Indomitus box set, because she's not a Space Marine person. She's just not. It's not her thing. She actually not very much a 40K thing. She did the Necrons because she was doing this really cool neo cyberpunk dark wave type, these crazy neon colors, these 80s paint scheme inspired Necrons that are really, really cool. If you're not subscribed to Dana Howell and you want to see a professional artist that decided to do miniatures, and she talks about some really great techniques and stuff, go subscribe to her channel. She's actually, I wouldn't call her a friend, but she's an associate. I'm involved with a group of other YouTube creators, and she's a member of that group, and we've talked a few times, and she's just an amazing person. She's really great about helping people out and trying to help them up their painting game and showing them tips and tricks. So Dana Howell, good stuff. But she was talking to Guy at Midwinter Minis, and they basically swapped styles. So he did a group of Corn Demons. He basically did the Corn Start Collecting box in this 80s aesthetic vaporwave, this miniatures. There's really no other way to describe them. I guess there's a term for the aesthetic, but there's these crazy 80s color thing. There's really, for me, I'm just like, wow, I would never think of using those kind of colors on figures, really. So she does it beautifully, and he did his Corn Demons in her style, and it really looks good. It's not my style of painting, but it's really good. On the flip side, she used his style of painting and painted up the Indominus box kit bashing. Oh, yeah, Zombicide, man. Dude, I love that game. And the fact that you're going to bother to paint up all the figures. I bought one box of extra zombies and painted up for my Zombie Apocalypse game, but I love that board game. Such a cool game. But she took the Indominus box set and basically a box of spare bits. Vaporware. Thank you. I could not think of the word. Vaporware. Thank you. It's absolutely incredible that she went and did more of a Blanchett to grimdark style with these Marines, but she took so many pieces because she's more of an Age of Sigmar player and painter. She took a bunch of the undead bone dudes, God, I don't even know what they're called, the bone guys from Age of Sigmar, and she used a bunch of their weapons and their shields and their bits and added them to this army as a kit bash. And just the kit bashing alone was just gorgeous. Just stunningly beautiful the way they look, just base figures. And then she went in and she did them in a grimdark style, and she decided to since she was doing them as a Carcadons, she decided to let shark tones and shark colors identify her color choices for her palette that she did on the Carcadons, and they are just gorgeous, absolutely just gorgeous. And she kind of inspired me for what I was doing with my guys. And I go as crazy as she did because I'm not as good a painter as she did. But she's like, don't be afraid to push yourself. Don't be afraid to do new techniques and try new stuff and do. But she did it in a way that spoke to me. So I decided that for my guys, I was going to do the thing I am most afraid of doing on figures. No, Minnie, you're wrong on both of those. They're the let me look here. Osiarch Bone Reapers. The Osiarch Bone Reapers. So she, like I said, what she did, she spoke to me because she's not, and the way it was because she's not comfortable doing 40K in Marines. It's just not her thing. So she's like, I don't know what to do with these. So she just kind of kit bashed the crap out of them because that's something. She has something she's really comfortable with is kit bashing. So she kit bashed the heck out of them, and then she went to painting them, and she's doing it in a style she's not familiar with. So she's pushing herself and doing ways. And just the way she spoke about her techniques and the way she spoke about how to do it and how to attack a project like that, it made me look at my Marines and go, okay, I'm going to do these guys. And I've been messing around. I've done like 5 or 6 different paint schemes. I was never happy with any of them. And I just went, you know what? I think I'm going to go more minimalist with them. And I'm going to try to worry about their tones. So I have this really cool gray gradient that runs through them. So if you don't look at their shoulder pads, they kind of look like they're made of stone, but the eyes are lit up. Their eyes are lit up, and they've got, very colorful shoulder pads. So it's just but the rest of the armor, and I built Lorne the fact that the armor is supposed to look like it was other colors, but they basically sandblasted it down to the base ceramite underneath. And so they're just plain armor, because they're supposed to be all these different chapters, but they're all guys from this homeworld, so they all came together. And then they repainted their shoulders to match the colors of their homeworld, the heraldry of their home planet. So it ends up being, to me, they look really cool. But then, like I said, the biggest thing I'm afraid of, because I was terrified by the idea of freehanding. I freeze up when I try to freehand. I am not confident in my freehanding skills. I can't draw very well. And when I try to paint like portrait type painting or picture type paintings, I paint like a 3-year-old. It's not a talent I have. So the idea of freehanding on my entire army, or just even on just a few shoulder pads, was terrifying to me. And then I decided, but I don't care. They're my figures, and I can't get the symbol I want on their shoulder in any other way. And then going back to my lore, the symbols on their shoulders, they're not on there because they're manufactured that way. It's when they decided to become their own, they put the symbol of their people, which is the reality is that their race is kind of an imperial death cult. They're obsessed with think of them like undertakers. They're an entire race where their culture revolves around graveyards and tending to the dead and the honored dead and the relics of the dead. So, honored skulls and honored bones, it's a big thing for them. So they all have this night sky with a skull on it. So they would have just painted themselves. So that's what I did. I went through and I painted a skull on every shoulder pad, and I was like, it looks skull-like. People will recognize what it is. And it was funny because I did that, and I was showing them off to I did this, I did the freehanding, and then a lot of people go, "Wow, that's some really good freehanding." And I'm looking at them going, "Really?" I was surprised. I thought it was kind of okay, but I didn't think it was that good. And I had a lot of people comment on how good the freehanding looked. So I did more, and I did more, and so now I've got more to do when No Bolder November's over. So I guess what I'm saying is that the whole point of what I was doing this challenge for, this year's challenge, was to do new things, to do new armies, to do new pieces, to do new techniques, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I did some new techniques that I've never done before on some of these Underworlds figures, and one of them turned out so well for that small warband that I'm going to be using a variation of that technique on the entirety of my Necrons army that I do next year. 2021, my new army for 2021 is Necrons, and I'm going to be doing them so they look like digital. They look digital projection. They're basically going to look like they're not. They may not even be hard bodied. They might be like bodies of light that have like a little drone in the middle of them that's projecting them. But they're it's an idea I have. They're basically going to be digital Necrons. So they're all going to be these glowing electronic looking colors. So I want to get one of those test Necrons. There's if you're familiar, like they did it with these guys, They did it before in 8th edition where there was a magazine that said start collecting 40K, and then there was a Marine in there, or you start collecting AOS and there was a wizard in there. They did the same thing nowadays, but it's got a Marine and a Necron in it. I'm tempted to get that to do a test paint on a Necron just to see if I do that paint scheme and I like it. Because they're spindly enough that I don't want to have to bother stripping them if I hate it. And if I do one and I like it, then I just have one guy that's a showpiece. But if I don't like it, I have one guy and he's a showpiece. And I can come up with a different paint scheme for them. So that's the goal. You got to have hobby goals, right? Hashtag hobby goals. And I think it's a good thing that everybody takes, like, every year they do one of these challenges. It all came about from 40K or Warhammer putting out these painting challenge sheets that they put out. You know, how to, I forget what they called it, but they put out these little checklists that everybody's supposed to take and fill out for themselves. Try this year, do this year, that type of thing. Paint a model to battle ready, paint a battle to parade ready. Paint a large model, paint a squad, it was really cool. It was all these ways to do hobby goals. Now, the problem was I was going to do most of that, but it did give me ideas. And I really encouraged them. And it's cool because I'm seeing other people I know, like Antonio, he's pushed his paint game up and he's given himself some goals. He and I were talking about this the other day. He's given himself some goals and he's been pushing his painting. And if you are not familiar with his painting, although I know most of the people in this channel are, but if you're not familiar, Antonio, it's Battle Ready Minis on Battle Ready Minis on Instagram, right? I want to make sure before I promote that for you, because I want to push stuff out there because he paints like poop, just like you do, Ben. You two are my favorite poop painters. So, yeah, I think it's Battle Ready Minis out on Instagram. He does really, I love the work he does. He's another very clean painter. He has a very clean style. He does a lot of conversion work because he's doing these Halo Marines, and they're very, very cool. But much like Commodore, Solar Core Forge. Did you change your name on Insta? I gotta look now. You're freaking out because that is not the name you gave me before. I hate to think somebody else is doing the same thing you are, and I'm supporting them and not you. You're making me look. Hang on, folks. Look. Solar Core Forge. Okay. Okay, yeah. So Solar _Core _Forge. He used to be something else. I see what he did for. Because he's right. He's promoting his bitch shop now. That's right. So yeah, go and check his stuff out if you're not familiar with it. He is doing a Loyalist Primaris Word Bearers army that I freaking love, but they're Halo based. I just love the figures. He's been getting a lot of attention. He's been getting a lot of attention on the Reddit mini community and the Reddit 40K community on him. They're really good stuff. I will be passing them on to my guys in the IDIC beer group, especially the Mythos and Freak over at Frost and Fist, because they do a weekly check this out art page, and I'm trying to I love sharing good art. I love sharing good painted figures. And Antonio, you are an amazing painter. And I said that before, and now I'm saying it publicly because, it's the truth. You're a great painter, an absolutely great painter. And it's great because you're this very clean style. It's not a style I'm very comfortable with painting. And I look at you and I look at Commodore and Ben for that matter. I look at the three because all three of you are very clean painters. And you do just such clean work. And it's wonderful stuff. So, honestly, I've surrounded myself with really good people that I can try and pick up techniques from. And Tina is also a great painter. I love her conversion work. I know she wasn't happy with the conversion work after it was done, but I loved her little jet bikes. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. It's so maddening she didn't like those because I thought they were cool as crap. One of the things I liked about it the best was that you're pushing yourself and you're doing things other people aren't doing. Tina Raven did those wonderful Sisters of Battle jet bikes. You've got these lovely Halo figures, and you've been modifying to remove some of the symbolry from them and put the helmet to make them look a little cleaner and less super Imperial cultist like, which I dig. I love the shoulder work you're doing on them. Ben's painting, I can't even say anything about him. He's a poop painter. I love his work. He is poop. And everybody knows I've and Kami, the thing about Kami is it's funny. He's very humble about his stuff. And the thing is, I try to point out to other people, it's like, dude, do you realize what this man does? Because there's stuff that he does that I don't think he realizes how cool it is that he does what he does. And how good some of the stuff he does looks. He takes direction well, and his technique is really amazing. If you haven't checked out his Instagram, go check it out because he's been working on some blood letters recently that when I think demons, I always think like super dirty. I always think like super dirty, super sketchy, very Blanchitsu style. And he's doing these demons in, again, his clean style. And they're absolutely gorgeous. I can't paint that way. And it's a good painting style. And, I admit I'm a little jealous because some of his stuff is so clean and so great. And he's not an airbrush user. His blends are so smooth and so buttery, and his coats are so even. If you go look on his Instagram and you take a close look, and you realize all those nights he painted. If you look at all those nights he painted, there's no airbrush work on those nights. The entirety of those nights there was some spray can involved, but other than that, that's all brushwork. That's all that smooth, absolutely just perfect coats. I am jealous of the fact that he has even coverage down to an art. Just seeing the work he's done on those nights is just stupid. It's so good, but so stupid. It's just like, what the hell, man? And he's like, well, I just follow what Duncan says. No, dude, there is some definite skill there. Yeah, you maybe have learned some base techniques from Duncan stuff, but there is definitely some skill there. And it's really good to see. So, but this is the whole deal. This is why we did this yearly challenge. Why did paint more figures? Because if you paint more figures and you Tony and I were talking about this. You perfect your basics. You perfect your techniques. And when you get that one done, then you push on the next one. Well, if you're not doing lots of figures, it takes you longer. Antonio gets to paint a lot more than the average person. So, and he's, that's good. He gets to paint a lot more than the average person does. And thus his painting has really shot through the roof over the last year. I'm more comfortable with laying down multiple base coats. And my speed has jumped. I mean, my speed has just absolutely jumped through the roof, but I'm getting sharper with my choices. So that's been a big thing for me because I paint in a sketchy style. Sometimes there's a lot of overlap and I have to go back and clean it up and clean it up and clean it up and clean it up and clean it up. And I've been getting better and better about not needing to clean up as much and move forward and going for more accuracy and slowing down and taking my time, but doing it faster. It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it actually is. It's there are certain things that you do have to slow down for, and I wasn't before. I was kind of, and the things that I could do fast, I was doing at the same speed. Well, the stuff that you can do fast, I'm doing much faster, and the stuff that I shouldn't be doing faster, you shouldn't do as fast. I've gotten in the habit of doing them slower to get more definition and more lines. And I still have a ways to go. There's still a lot of technique and a lot of things I want to get better at, and I'll get there. But if I'm not painting 300 figures a year, I'm not going to get there. So, because Antonio is going after one of the goals that I at one point set for myself, but then I realized I'm not a competition type painter. I actually figured that out last year. I painted for Ever Chosen, and I painted what I think is still to this day my best painted figure. And I spent like 30 hours painting this one lone figure. And it's a beautiful, beautiful Space Wolf. But I realized that's not my gig. I can paint nice figures, but I'd rather paint okay figures to get an army done so I can get an army done and out and playing. So we all have goals. I want my battle readies to look closer. I want my parade readies to look more polished than they currently are. How about that? All right, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. Like I said, we're going to do this abbreviated tonight. I'm actually going to probably be heading to bed. I am exhausted with the new hours at work, at least the next couple of weeks. So that being said, this weekend, once I get my hands on Shadow and Fury, I will be doing an unboxing. Depending on when I get it, I'd like to get. If everything works out well, like I did my Wolf stuff, I'll be able to do it Friday night. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up for the night. If you found this entertaining and you got any enjoyment out of this, or you got anything educational out of it, go ahead and hit that, smash that like button. No day off tomorrow? Why would I have tomorrow off? What is tomorrow? More money. Tomorrow's Wednesday. There's no day off tomorrow. You confuse me. No. No, I will not have Veterans Day off. It's just another day, unfortunately. I wish. I'll have Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving off. So that'll be enough for me. Those will be my first days off since I got since Labor Day. So that's all right. But yeah, if you found this entertaining or you found this discussion at all engaging, please go ahead and hit that like button. It helps me out. And I appreciate that I appreciate that, sir. I take pride in my service to our country. And, you know, I'll probably, knowing where I work, I'll probably end up getting free lunch tomorrow. So I'll take that as a win. Wow, I am really, my brain is already shutting down for the night. So we're gonna wrap this up and get out of here. If you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, ring that bell if you're not. Remember, I am on Instagram. I'm a Gamecraft Dragon. Lady Dragon 28 is also on Instagram. There's also some other really great people out there. Solar Core Forge, the Nightly Gamer. Go out and check them out. Mini Warmut's got it at an Instagram, and he's got some pretty cool stuff out there. Also, Mini Warmut has a channel. He's a friend of the channel, and he has his own. Go out and check his stuff up. He's going to be doing an unboxing of Zombicide. He's been doing a bunch of Zombicide, some other stuff recently. He's a really great painter, and I really love the fact that he's got a very diverse channel. So go check that out. And remember, everyone, that don't compare your last painted figure to anybody else's. Compare the figures you paint to the figure before. Look at how you're doing, because you're the only one you can judge yourself against. You can look at other people for inspiration, but you look at yourself for an improvement. So, always cheating, always striving, always trying to be better. Epic your board and epic your game, folks. And remember, game on. Oh, yeah. Wash your damn hands. Wear your damn masks. And just because it's not in the news every freaking moment because we've had all this other stuff in there, the coronavirus is still real. It's still out there, and it needs to be treated as such. Social distancing, folks. I don't want to see anybody else die. I've already lost 5 friends. I don't need to lose anymore. Okay? Everyone be safe. And we will catch you later this week. Thanks so much.